Welcome to another Tweet for Media special interview. I'm your host, Jhaka Wooding, and today I am joined by Mr. Christopher Faison, or as some may know him, Broadway's Luther Vandross. He's spending some important time in the territory and is preparing to set himself on fire on stage on Saturday. So we hear about that and everything he's been up to after this quick commercial break.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. My name is Kamal Haynes. Most of you know me from 284 News, but now you get to see me in a different light on my very own show called Health is Wealth. We have Joel Turnbull.
I don't want you to arch your back when you're pulling down.
Milton McLean.
First of all, right, your footwork.
Stephen Payne.
That was a 9 out of 10. I know you got the service down.
We just
Steve Augustine.
You did a pretty hard workout today, so perhaps.
And as you can see, it's actually
you're feeling it.
Alonzo Boynes.
Taekwondo.
Adam Burrows.
I'll speak as if you're an absolute beginner.
I am an absolute beginner.
You are an absolute beginner.
And Seth Graham.
It bites. It will bite.
Get your water, get your fruits and veggies, and experience a wealth of knowledge about getting healthy.
Welcome back and thank you so much for staying with us. And Mr. Faison, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, now tell me all about what you do. Being a Broadway artist sounds so exciting. What's that life like?
It is. It's very exciting and it's very daunting. To be able to do what you love for a living is fantastic. To have your gift be the gift of art and song and dance and acting is really, really wonderful. And because of this gift, I've been able to travel all over the place, and here I am in Tortola.
All right, and what's your purpose here in the BVI right now?
So for the past few days, I've been doing some youth engagements and working with the young people here in town, trying to establish a connection between Broadway and the arts here in BVI. Really, the goal has been to sort of introduce Broadway to people who don't really know what it is, and to be able to sort of start the foundation for building an enhanced engagement here between all of the different local artists here in town to really hopefully bring something collaborative together at the end of the process.
In my experience, the young people of the BVI are so very talented. So what's it been like interacting with them, and what's the response been like?
I completely agree. I've been blown away actually by the talent of the young people here. We have had some singers come through and a meeting with some dancers this evening. It's just been a really interesting and eye-opening experience to see young people, especially young people of color, who are really engaged and really into the arts, and is just phenomenal talent that I've gotten to witness and critique and give feedback on. It's been really beautiful.
What have your experiences with the upcoming talent been like? So just walk me through what one of those interactions would entail.
Yeah, I've done some master classes here, and so the goal in the master class is to get the young person to sing a song for me, let's say, and then they'll sing, and then I'll critique them and give them feedback, and then have them go over it again using that critique and feedback, and just to see the difference between the first time they sang it and the second time they sang it, or sometimes even the second or third time, to really pull out of them the gift that they naturally have that they may not know is there.
Mm-hmm. Now, when people look at Broadway, of course, it's very easy to only see the main character. As we've come to call it, you only see that one person in the spotlight, often playing the protagonist, right? But walk us through the opportunities available in Broadway for somebody who, may not be the strongest singer, or may not actually want that kind of spotlight.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a myriad of jobs on Broadway. It's not just singing, dancing, acting. There is producing, there are front of house staff, there's back of house staff, costumes, wardrobe, lights. Broadway is a group of groups of people who all work together collaboratively to put on the show. I myself had started in the ensemble and was just, in the background singing oohs and ahs in the background. And then I was lucky enough to make my principal debut and to be a leading man in the same show that I was also in the background for. So the opportunities are really endless.
Now, you did mention your humble beginnings in Broadway. Now, just take us through your career that has led you to where you are now.
Sure. Well, I spent more time auditioning for Broadway than I have being on Broadway. But I've been very fortunate to make my Broadway debut at Lincoln Center, which is the creme de la creme of the Broadway houses. Working with phenomenal Tony Award-winning talent and really learning more and more about myself as an actor, just being surrounded by the other talent in the room. From there, I've done 3 national tours, touring around the United States and Canada as well, doing My Fair Lady, Hello Dolly, and the big mega hit, The Book of Mormon, which was, of course, written by Matt Parker and Trey Stone from South Park. And since the pandemic sort of slowed everything down, I started working on my Luther Vandross concert, which I'll be doing here.
Yes, and we are so very excited. What's that experience been like? What's the feedback been like from members of the public who have seen the show?
Yeah, I've been very fortunate that people are really receiving the Luther concert that I do. I have been fascinated by Luther's life for a long time and grew up listening to Luther's music. In fact, I found my voice from listening to Luther. And to be able to share his story of love and longing has been really special to me. And I think it's a show that he actually would really appreciate and be proud of.
All right, now I don't want to put you on spot right now.
Okay, good.
To give us a sample. Don't worry, it's not going to be that deep. But if persons want to see some of your work, possibly ahead of Saturday's show, how can they do so?
Absolutely. You can check out my website, www.christopherfaison.com. I'm also on YouTube and all of the socials, the Instagram, the Facebook, and newly joined TikTok.
Oh. All right. Now, for a lot of young people in the Caribbean, these are the types of jobs we only dream of, but then we end up falling into the rut of, this is impossible if you're from the Caribbean. What do you say to young people coming up in the BVI or anywhere else in the region who dream of being on Broadway?
Dream it. Dream it and know that it is possible. If you think about the just huge amounts of people who are in New York and who are working in the arts industry, not everyone comes from the United States. Not everyone comes from New York. Not everyone is coming from Canada. There are people from the Caribbean. There are people from Africa. There are people from Europe. There's people from all over who are working in the arts and doing that thing. So never, ever stop. Always keep going. I say that to young people all the time because you are destined for greatness, and if you just continue to try and not be knocked down, then you'll achieve what you're after eventually.
Saturday, everything's coming together. What can we expect?
You can expect to hear songs by Luther Vandross that you know, or your parents know, or some songs you may not know or didn't know that Luther wrote or even covered. Also, I tell a really interesting story about Luther's life as an artist and his search for love, which is very similar to my life as an artist and my search for love. And knowing that really at the end of the day, Luther sang about all kinds of love, and love from a parent to a pet to, whatever it was. And he was all about love and making sure that love was the answer. And so that's what my show is rooted in. It's rooted in love.
And what local entities have you been working with in preparation for your show?
So I've been working with, that's a great question. That is a really great question. The one that comes immediately to my mind is Yep. I'm going to be working with Yep. And also with a young lady named Julie, who has been the person who has really gotten me here and is responsible for me being here.
Yeah, I've heard that name a couple of times. She's a frequent to the 24 Media studio.
Awesome.
All right, now for persons to get involved, are there ticket sales going on, and where is the show being held?
So the show is free, which is great. So, for me, if it's free, it's for me. And it's going to be at the Pier Park at the House of Luxury on Saturday night. We have a cocktail hour, or cocktail half hour at 6:30, and then we have the performance at 7.
All right. Now, you did mention having persons come out looking for songs that they may know or songs their parents might know. is it a show that you would recommend that they bring young children to as well? Is this, an adult kind of event?
It is open to all, as is love.
All right, I love that final response. I just want one more thing from you today. You did speak to young people earlier on, just encouraging them to follow their dreams and continue to dream big.
Yes.
If you had to give one word of advice on how they could take their first step to act on realizing that dream in Broadway, what would it be?
Great question. Another really, really great question. I would say the first step would be know yourself. Know yourself and know your talent and know that you are worth it. And also know that there will be people who will try to knock you down along the way. But take the first step in knowing who you are, what your talent is, and don't let anybody try to stop you from delivering that.
All right, thank you so
My pleasure.
much for being here today. We're looking forward to seeing you on Saturday.
Great.
I am a fan of Luther Vandross,
Cool.
and my father will be very jealous that I was there and he was not. Of course, with that, we come to the end of this Tweet for Media special interview. Of course, we are looking forward to seeing all of you at Pier Park this Saturday, and stay tuned because there's more great content coming up on Tweet for Media.